if you do the wrong way with the wrong intentions, I say quiet hiring is not going to work. And when I reflect back, I felt like, you know what, that was a wage theft. Why do you need to come back, right? Micromanagers are like, I need to literally watch. You got to understand the environment and see if there's something you can do, self-reflect. So by 90 days, I figured it out, self-reflected, what's working, what's not working. And the reality was completely different. If you Google whitening resume, a lot of people are concerned about it. If you want extra from me, what's in for me? I'm going to go somewhere that I am celebrated. Give me thumbs up if you can hear me. So doing the mic testing, perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is going to be amazing. I have amazing guests in the house. Couple of housekeeping today. What we would be doing is we're going to go through our own journey, lived journey of getting promotions. How did we get promoted fast? Quite often. And I have a guest, Maya Grossman, as well with me, who is going to talk about how do you move up to the executive level. And Maya, welcome to my show. Tell us about yourself. How did you move up so fast? Let's dive right into it.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me, Sweta. I mean, we've been having these conversations offline, but then we thought, oh my gosh, we should just share this with the world because we're going to help so many people. So excited for the opportunity. Thank you for inviting me. And I can give you like the really quick version of my story. I did not have like the perfect career journey. I actually spent 7 years at the wrong job. So I had to put myself through college. So I took the first job I could find, worked full time while earning my degree, and then realized I'm in the wrong place. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my career, but I've already spent 7 years at that company and I wanted to make a pivot and I had no idea how to even get started. So I had to figure it out. I had to ask myself, what would it take to move from where I was at the time? I worked for a travel agency in order to go to where I wanted to be, which is become a marketer. But I literally had no one around me who was a marketer, had no one to ask. This was the early days of social media. Facebook and Twitter were just getting started. I didn't have a lot of access. So what did I do? I created my own opportunity. I went to the travel agency manager and I said, you know what? I really want to get more experience doing marketing. Can I maybe open up a Facebook page for the agency? I'm going to do it in my spare time. Don't worry, it's not going to interfere with my day-to-day work, but I want to get experience. And I did that for almost 6 months, gained the experience I needed, and was able to land my first marketing job. And that was the first time I realized that I'm in control of my career and I can make anything happen.
That is amazing. I love it. How did you actually do things that work for you? So when it comes to my career, I started from the entry level. I was a newcomer in Canada. Any newcomer in Canada, any immigrant in Canada, give me thumbs up. If you're joining us from Canada, give me thumbs up. I came in here and I had no clue how do I bounce back. So I took on the volunteering role apprenticeship at IBM. Of course, they were, I could have gotten paid, but did I? No, it was a volunteer role. I said, instead of staying home, I'm just going to go and learn about this. How do they do the business, right? It was an entry-level role in IBM, customer service, going through the warranty check and soft skills and everything like that. I learned so much from it, like, soft skills. How do you handle the escalations to how do you sell it? It was a contact center. And I decided, I think probably this is the right role for me. Even though I was volunteering, I got the quality award and then the sales award. And that actually gave me the motivations of, okay, I think I'm the right fit for it. Had I not done that, had I just stayed home and said, well, I'm not going to do any unpaid work, I would have not been into the management role a little bit later on. And then I started targeting the right industry, which is the sales roles, customer service, and then I moved up the ladder. And we're going to go and talk about it. How did I do it? And then afterwards, I upgraded. I went to school here, college here. And then I decided I'm going to do part time on sales just to see if I really like it. And I worked fully on commission, guys, 100% commission. It was a future shop now owned by, it's actually now owned by Best Buy. It's closed now, and it's in US as well. And it was very hard for me. English is not my first language. As you can probably listen, when you're listening to my voice, you can feel it. There's an accent. Probably you'd notice some kind of grammar issues, whatever it is, but I continued. And that gave me so much confidence on a sales job. And then I decided, okay, I can overcome the rejections. I can understand people's pain point and emotions. And that's how I started building my portfolio in the sales area, customer service. And I targeted banking industry in a contact center. And right after I graduated from college, I got multiple offers, and my entry-level role, selling the deposit to the client in Canada, was my dream job. So that's how I started. So Maya, let's go back to you now. So, first of all, if you listen to Maya, you have no idea English is not her first language. I'm shocked, Maya. Tell me, how did you adjust to that culture? Tell us more personal details about how did you move from different country to here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that, because just like you, I am an immigrant here, and I'm very self-conscious about how I sound and how I speak. So that's definitely a great compliment. Thank you. But to be honest, I spent the majority of my career, from my first job really, working for global companies. So for me, business was handled in English. So I basically had 15 years of experience speaking English every single day, and it kind of became almost my first language.
That is great. And you have a best-selling book as well. Tell us more about it. What is it all about?
Oh my gosh, yes. So for many, many years, I had a dream of writing a book. I've always been a writer. So for me, when I was a little kid, some people need to talk to process their thoughts. I wrote. I was always a writer. And when I got into marketing, writing became my superpower and what helped me become a really good marketer. And for years, I had this dream: one day I'm going to write a book. And every year I told myself, nah, not this year. And it wasn't because I didn't know what to write about. It wasn't because, I didn't think it was going to be good. I just had this fear in the back of my mind, thinking, who am I? No one knows me. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous. English is not my first language. Who's going to read a book that I write? And for years, I pushed it back, until one day my husband actually asked me, why do you want to write this book? What's the goal? And my answer was, I want to change people's lives. I want to take everything that I learned in my career, all the hardship, all the challenges, and I want to give people the solutions. I want to make their journey so much easier than mine. And he said, well, then how many lives do you want to change? Is it enough if you change one life? And I had to think about it for a minute, but the answer was, hell yes. It's going to be worth the investment, even if I change only the life of one person. And that what gave me the encouragement to go ahead and do it. And I wrote a book. It's called Invaluable: Master the 10 Skills You Need to Skyrocket Your Career. And it shares the 10 skills, all of them soft skills, by the way, guys, that are actually going to future-proof your career, because they're going to support you no matter what your role is, no matter what the industry is. It's going to give you the superpower to actually go after your dreams and achieve them. And I ended up publishing the book. It became a bestseller on 4 categories on Amazon, and thousands of people read it. And I got thousands of letters and emails telling me, oh my gosh, this changed my life. And that was the moment I realized it was worth the investment.
That is such a great story. Give Maya heart emojis, people. Isn't that amazing? English is not her first language, but she wrote the book. That happened to me as well. So when someone approached me, Daisy Wright is one of the career coach that I respect in Canada. She was compiling the coaches and women who were immigrant and who had stories. She reached out to me and she said, hey, I am thinking of getting this book. Do you want to co-author? Right. And I honestly felt like, what an honor. I don't know. I had a self-doubt. I don't know if you people right now listening, do you have a that self-doubt? Give me, yes, you're not, right there. Give me heart emojis if you feel that when somebody reaching out to you. I felt I don't think I'm the right fit. But then I wrote it and wrote it, and later on that became Amazon bestseller as well. The book is named as 21 Resilient Women, with 21 women who immigrated to Canada, and we all have stories in there. So that's how we're going to talk about it today. When it comes to promotion, career promotion strategies, every one of us, like me as well, I had so much self-doubt, and I did it. I always thought, I don't know about you, Maya, but I always thought, like, I got 9 promotions within 12 like years. Out of that, I went away in mat leave twice. We got 1 year of mat leave in Canada. There was a 2 years break back to back. I always thought that I was never ready. I was like, I need to know 100% of this role before I want to go on and get more responsibilities. I had that huge doubt. What about you? Did you ever feel that? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I think for me, it actually worked a little bit differently. So I've always been this high achiever. I always want more. My one word, the thing that drives me is impact. And I always wanted to make a bigger impact. So for me, I would get into a role, I would do it for, let's say, 6 months. I would feel like, I've mastered it. I know what to do. I'm good at my job. And I would get bored. So I would start looking around, okay, what else can I do? How can I expend my responsibility? How can I help other people? Maybe I have ideas on how to do different things for the company. And that's basically how I started qualifying myself for the next role. Was I scared? A little bit, I'm going to be honest, because the whole point is for you to stretch yourself. That's how you're going to get promoted. If you do more of the same, you're going to stay at your own level. But if you start stretching yourself and doing a little bit more and getting out of your comfort zone, that's when you grow. And when you grow, you're actually going to be prepared to take more responsibility, to have more seniority, and let's be honest, to get paid for what you're worth. So that was kind of the journey for me, finding opportunities to do a little bit more and grow, and then making sure that the I'm actually getting the reward, demonstrating that I'm ready for the next level.
That's amazing. So now in my case, even though I was a high performer, I was top salesperson all the time. I was leading top team. I definitely felt like every time, I don't know if it's probably related with my own culture because I'm South Asian, and women of color as well. Maybe it's coming from inside the trauma and stuff like that. I always felt that I have to prove so much. I have to work hard than other people. I always thought that whenever there was a job posting coming up, I always thought that I'd be the last one. There would be other people who were born in Canada who do not look like me, who are mostly white people, or they are born in here. I felt like immediately I crossed my name out, and that was me. But despite
Oh
that fact,
no.
I was surrounded by really good mentors as well. So now let's move away from this to a different set, which is how important was it that you had amazing mentor, and how did they help you? Do you have a checklist of how did you get promoted that worked for you?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, mentors definitely played a role, and I would say managers, because your manager, the person you report to directly, they are usually the most important person when it comes to your promotion. And they're going to be doing the evaluation, they can go to bat for you, they can also create opportunities for you along the way to help you qualify yourself for that next role. So I was very lucky. Obviously, not every single time, but I had a couple of great managers who basically helped me, one, understand what I wanted, and two, they created opportunities for me to either get visibility, to do more. And some of them, honestly, they just had my back. One of the best pieces of career advice I've ever gotten was from my manager at Microsoft. And he said, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. And what he meant by that was, working for a big company, there's a lot of red tape. Things take a really long time. You need approvals. And we really wanted to move quickly. So he kind of gave me permission to do what I think was right. And he always said, if someone complains or if there's a problem, just blame me. I'm going to have your back. I'm going to tell them I approved it. And it was such great advice because for the most part, people don't care. But if you do get caught, then you have a really strong manager that is going to make sure that you don't have to pay the price. So that was huge for me because it allowed me to grow.
Oh my
So
God,
when it comes,
that's really good, Maya. And I think being in the leadership role, we realize that when everything fails, you take a hit, but when everything is working out, then you give credit to the team. How cool is that, right? So go on and add in.
no, I was just going to talk a little bit more about the actual process to get promoted.
Go ahead.
And I know I know different companies have different, structures. Some of them only promote once a year, or you need to go through a performance review. I know some companies require you to be there for 2 or 3 years. I'm going to tell you a secret, guys. No matter what the process is for your company, you can always change it. I have seen all of these rules and processes go out the window for the right people who can demonstrate that they're going to add more value to the company if they're promoted. I've been promoted mid-cycle. I help my clients do it. I created roles that didn't exist. I've had clients who were promoted twice in 1 year. It's really about your approach and making sure that you have everything that you need to demonstrate that you're ready for the next level. The problem is, most people think the only thing they need to do to get promoted is work hard. And the truth is, it's exactly the opposite. You're not supposed to work harder, you're supposed to work smarter. And let me explain what I mean. Working more hours doing the same thing only going to keep you where you are, because it's a demonstration that you know how to do your job at your level. And this is how a lot of people get stuck, because they become invaluable. They're so good at their specific job that no one wants to promote them because they don't know how to replace them. But if you want to get to the next level, you need to show people you can do next level work. You need to stretch yourself and go beyond your job description in order for you to actually build the skills you need to get a promotion. And let me tell you what a promotion is, because I think a lot of people assume a promotion is just a reward for doing your job really well. No, if you do your job really, really well, you might get a bonus or a raise. A promotion, on the other hand, is a vote of confidence that you can do next level work, because essentially your manager, the company, they're going to take a chance on you. They're going to give you a job you've never done before, and they're going to trust that you can actually do it. The only way to convince them to take a chance on you is to actually show them that you're ready to do it.
That is crazy. So for those of you who want to follow Maya, I am on her profile right now. This is being streamed on YouTube channel as well. You can always go and catch the replay, take a look at her profile as well, and then definitely follow her. I'm going to open the floor for Q&A a little bit later on. Hang in there, raise your hand, and make sure that you have a right question. It's all about job search, career, and the promotional strategy today. So Maya, I don't know, tell me what you think. I realized a little bit later in the probably later in a leadership role, it's not about like how hard you work. It's about influencing that person, your boss's boss, sometime to get ahead in your journey. And that worked for me. What I used to do a little bit later on was I used to have a skip level networking and meeting with my boss's boss to understand how my bosses is talking about myself behind my back, not to sneak in, but to get an idea, because I felt like as I became a leader, the way that I would put my people ahead in a promotions in room full of opportunity, I wanted my boss to do that as well. And I wanted to understand how the promotion works in the corporate world I was working in. And it was all about the perceptions. It was all about the KPIs, which is key performance indicator. Are you meeting those? Are you making your boss look good? So you're ready to go and get promoted. What are your thoughts on it, influencing the influencer?
Oh my God, that was such a great tip. One of the most important things that you can do for your career is to make your manager look good. Because at the end of the day, your success is their success. And if you make them look good, they're going to invest in you constantly. So I love that approach. It worked really well for me. When I'm thinking about the difference between IC roles and then moving into leadership and management, I think, yes, there is a really big difference. Early on in your career, it's all about the doing. You need to build your skills. You need to demonstrate that you have capabilities, and you need to do the work hands on. But once you cross over to a leadership role and later on executive roles, it's all about soft skills. It's all about communication and building relationship and influencing both your team. So you need to learn how to mobilize people and motivate them and get them to do their best work, but also managing up. To your point, you need to really get close with your manager's manager, and I would even say other stakeholders across the organization, because people move companies, right? And the only way to get budgets approved, to have big initiatives, and to have real impact is to have other people support you. You can't do it alone. So one of the most important capabilities as you level up is that ability to influence. So I love that you figured it out and you learned how to do it.
That's crazy. So that we're so aligned on that one. And I think a lot of people, I learned that from my mentors. I learned from someone who moved up the ladder, and I try to study their profile, to study what do they talk about. I try to fit in without compromising my identity. And sometimes, yeah, I gave in to fit in as well. So what are your number one thing? I want to really put you in a hot seat today, because I've come from that culture. Like award-winning companies have some skeleton. Okay, for those of you who are thinking about, listen, award-winning companies, top employers that I've worked with, they have no skeleton. They absolutely do. So my first thing is, look, how are people being promoted? The culture might depend from department to bosses to boss, to team, and it could potentially depend on the industry to industry and type of role. First thing is to see who are getting promoted. Is it nepotism? Is it work politics? Is it gossip? Is it people hanging out after happy hours? People going playing golf? Stuff like that. I've seen it. Now, how do you navigate around it so you don't want to be no part of it, but you still want to get promoted? What's the best way to do it, Maya, without going in and trying to fit in because it compromises your ethics?
Yeah, well, I think it might actually start when you are considering taking an offer. You want to do your due diligence. It's not enough just to go through the interview process. You need to do some back channeling yourself. You want to talk to previous employees. Maybe you want to have a one on one conversation with someone on the team you're joining who's been promoted. You want to ask them how that happened. And you also want to ask some hard questions as you're interviewing, right? When you're considering joining a company, it's almost like, getting married, because you're going to spend a lot of your time working for that company and engaging with people, and you want to make sure that you're making the right choice. So I would say step number 1, do your due diligence, at least try to cover your bases and understand what to expect.
That's a great
Now,
point. Yeah, that's a great point. Now, how did that work with you? Were there a lot of, like, something like that you had to try to fit in, or was it no part? The culture was really fantastic that it was always measure on KPI. Did you guys have a career ladder that in order to go there, you got to go into this path? Because that's what I had, and that was fantastic. So people who want to move up, who want to be there, we had a predefined path, and we had to go navigate around it to get supported from the management. So what about that? Did you have that?
well, that's obviously an ideal situation. And for the majority of the companies I worked for, that was the main reason for getting promoted. So, yes, it did work well for me. I will say that one company, they did not have the same culture, unfortunately. And I found out very late into the game. And I had two options. I could either try and figure it out or find a different place to work. So I don't like to think about myself as a quitter. So I always try. I gave it 6 months. I made every effort. I wouldn't say necessarily to fit in, but just to make sure that the contribution I am making is aligned with what they were looking for. And it just didn't work, no matter how hard I tried. And I saw other people around me doing the same thing and not getting recognized. So I realized it's not about me, it's about them. And it was time for me to find another job. And I did.
Oh God, that's really fantastic. So for those people who are going through the same phase right now, promotion does not have to be inside. Take that takeaway. Go where you're celebrated, not where you are tolerated. Give me heart emojis if you are on that boat right now, and if you want to go where you're celebrated. You don't have to be sucked into the miserable role. You can definitely forecast your career path outside. And as Maya said, she doesn't want to be known as quitter, and I am the same way. I quit 2 jobs back to back. It was not the right fit for me. I didn't feel like I want to fit in. I felt like the promotion is not going to be something that it's going to give me some motivations. Some of the job, let's be real, why do you want to get promoted? Is it fancy title? Is it the money? Is it the work-life balance? Because what I realized, tell me something, Maya, that if you feel the same way as well, you can completely disagree. People, like, I've worked with it, not everyone wants to get promoted for same reason. For me, the promotion was learning, getting more exposure, learning so much instead of money, because I was making top dollar as a salesperson. When I went to the leadership, I was losing that bonuses and everything. I had a different kind of bonus. I wanted to learn. And then when I was leading the team, when I'm sitting down with the team, not everyone wanted to move up the ladder for money. It was work-life balance sometimes. Sometimes people don't want to move at all, and that's not fine as well. So sometimes people are like, you know what? I just want that fancy title, so I know that I can speak about that title outside. It's more kind of like pride as well. Some people wanted more tasks and more projects. So it's not only about money. If you're thinking career promotions about money, absolutely no. That's something I know by leading the team. What are your thoughts on it, Maya, when you're leading the team? Why did people want to be promoted?
Yeah, well, I think there are a lot of different reasons. And I would also say different seasons in your life require you to optimize for different things. So, very early in my career, I had to make sure that I can pay rent. So, money was definitely important. But the higher up I went, the more I realized it was about the impact for me. It was about the learning. It was about becoming the best in really influencing the companies I worked for and the team members that worked with me. So it was a combination of both. I will, however, say that it was still very important to me to get compensated for what I was doing and to earn my worth. So there were times when I was willing to compromise a little bit on my paycheck in order to get an opportunity that then skyrocketed my career into the future. Let me give you an example. When I worked for Microsoft, I had an opportunity to either level up internally or to try and get a job externally. And my main goal, my entire career, I had one big goal. I wanted to become the CMO of a Silicon Valley startup. And I asked myself, what will get me closer to my goal? If I leveled up inside of Microsoft, yes, it will be great. I'll probably get paid more, but the path to CMO is going to be so long and so hard. We're talking 7 to 10 years, if I even make it. But if I took a job externally, and for me, that was with a startup, I was actually able to get a job where I was leading marketing and I had to earn my VP title, but it only took me about 6 months to do that. So, yes, I gave up in the short term on a bigger salary, but taking that job completely changed my journey and got me closer to my goals.
That is fantastic. And I love what you said. It depends on your personal journey. And that's exactly what I mean. And I was the same way as well. When I started moving up the ladder, when I was first on the role where I had to pay the bills and everything, yes, the money was a factor. That's why I did not want to lose that sales job. And then I felt like I'm not learning so much. My brain's not being used properly. So I started stretching myself out. And one thing I can tell people, if you want a promotions, you always want to shadow and test it out. And I was lucky that I did it. I had a great mentors and managers. So this is what I would do during downtime when it's slow. I'm not sitting on my desk and gossiping and being part of politics. I took that time off and I said to my manager, I would really like to know what that department is doing, because that's my goal, because that's something I've already talked to my management. team, and they know that's where I want to go. And then I would go sit down with the people who are already where I want to be. And I started shadowing. Just because someone is doing something, that doesn't mean that, you know what, I would love it. So I always tested it out before the posting came up internally. I wanted to like it, and I was already being trained for it. And that's how sometimes internal promotions, the roles were created for me because I already proved them that I'm capable of it. What are your thoughts on it when things like that happen, when the positions are created, Maya? Like, is it even possible in this day and age?
Oh my God. First of all, you're brilliant. This is literally what I teach people how to do today because I made a huge mistake earlier in my career. I saw a really shiny title and I took a job, and 6 months into it, I realized I hate it. It's just not what I want to do. So, having that opportunity to either shadow people or just talk to other people who have the job you want to have, you're going to learn so much. You're going to get so many insights, and you can really make sure that you're not making any big mistakes, but you're also going to learn on the job, which is pretty awesome because then you qualify yourself for the next level. And to your question about whether or not you can create your own jobs, let me tell you a little story. So remember how I worked for a travel agency, really wanted to get into marketing. I landed my first marketing role. I worked for a tiny agency. There were only 5 of us. And after a couple of months, I realized things were falling apart. We had an incredible CEO. He was bringing in a lot of clients, but we were not able to handle the stress. There was just too much going on. Things were really messed up. And it really bugged me because I loved this company. This was my first marketing gig. I was so excited. I did not want to lose my job. So I had a little epiphany and I sat down and I wrote a business plan. Now, when I say business plan, I mean a Word document with 5 bullet points. But I had ideas and I wanted to share them. So I reached out to the CEO. I set up a meeting and I said, "Hey, I know you're so busy. You're bringing in so many clients all the time, but us little people, we have a little bit of a problem. It's a little bit chaotic. Things are falling between the cracks. I think we need to make some changes, right? I think we need some processes, we need some templates, and you probably want to hire a manager." And I will never forget it because he looked at me and he was smiling. I just told him things are not going well and he was smiling. And he told me, "You know what? You're absolutely right. You as a new team leader, go figure it out." And that's how I created a role that did not exist.
Wow, oh my God, that's amazing. Give heart emojis if you want to take that risk and go and create the role. This what happened to me. So what happened was I was leading the team, and there was the project with IBM consultant. They were revamping the whole contact center, IVR and everything, using the different tool Genesis and contact center. And then there was the coaching pilot, and they were looking for a leader. And then we all sat down as a leader. There were like more than 20 leaders in there. And my director, who was external hire, I was working well with her. And we sat down and she asked the question, who wants to lead this project, coaching pilot? And no one put their hands up. Everyone looked to the senior person, I kid you not, who was already there. Everyone, including me, I said, I think that person is great, right? Although I wanted to, inside, I wanted to do it. You know how I had a self-doubt? I don't think I'm nowhere near to these people, right? Although I was leading the top performer, I knew how to do things. And the you know what? And my director said to me was, how about we take a vote, right? And everyone pretty much said, that person, majority of the person. I kid you not, after a couple of hours, the director came to me and had one-to-one. And then director said to me, I want you to lead this. I've already talked to VP and we're aligned, and I've seen your work. You know the contact center in and out. You've managed the queue. You've done everything. I know that you can do this. I have a full belief in you. You know what I said to her? My first thing was, but what about my presentation skills? What about my communication skills? What about my English not being a first language? I kid you not. She was the first manager who told me, I still remember that word. No one gives a shit about how you talk. Just get things done. And I know that you will get shit done. And I know that you will do it. Don't worry about it. Do you think these people up there would have to write everything, present everything? They have their PA to do it, right? Don't worry about that. I was like, oh my God. She was the first manager ever who gave me exceed on my communication skills in corporate life. And she became my mentor later on. And I want to tell you that the role was created after I put everything together and I solved the problem, saved millions of dollars. Now they have a data as well. It was created. And guess what happened? They were trying to move me laterally. And we're going to talk about lateral promotions. That's when I put my foot down and I said to a director, different director, I said, I think I've proven it all. I was chosen for this task. I gave you this. I would like you to go back and revisit my job descriptions. It's not the lateral move. And please come back to me. In a day, he came back to me and gave me the raise. First time ever I had a to
Yay!
negotiate. So promotion, when that comes to lateral move, you gotta make sure, ask them what's in for me, right? So Maya, what are your thoughts on the lateral move? I love it, but at the same time, like, you know what, you answer is always going to be no if you don't negotiate when it comes to career promotions internally. What are your thoughts, Maya?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what are your goals? So, for a lot of people, especially if they want to pivot into a little bit of a different role, then moving laterally could actually be a really great opportunity. But if your goal is to keep leveling up within your specific discipline, then moving laterally is probably not going to be the best move for you. If you've demonstrated that you have the skills, if you've demonstrated that you can create results at the next level, then by all means, you need to ask for it. And I'll be honest, if you don't get it internally with your company, even though you did the work and you showed them you can do it, then I would definitely start looking externally just to see what's out there. Because very often, externally, you're going to be able to get the title you want, you're going to be able to get the salary that you want, and you're going to be able to move up a lot quicker. But again, really depends on what you're optimizing for.
That's amazing. And, you know, I've seen it in my life as well. When external people got hired, they made more money. And that's when I realized, oh my God, was I being stupid to be loyal and be stuck with the same company? There's something that I would do differently if I were to go back and fix it, is move as much as you want with the strategy, not just get promotion internally, because study shows that when you move, not in a job hopping way, but like be strategic about it to level up, as you said, you will absolutely make more money. And that's happening to my client as well. When they're moving, you're making more money. Maya, am I right in that? Jayad is in the house, and that's the client that I have. He's done it strategically. Jayad, give me heart emojis if you're listening. He moved laterally and then he got promoted multiple times by moving outside. Perfect. There you go. So it works if you move outside. Maya, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a one size fits all. I don't think we can generalize and say, hey, if you're just going to go somewhere else, you're going to get more money. I think it's actually easier to level up internally with people who know you and have already seen your work. However, it does not always happen due to politics and due to internal processes. So if you're ready, if you already know that you're there, then I wouldn't make, loyalty or just wanting to be at the same place the thing that holds you back. Then you might want to start looking externally for those opportunities.
That is great. And, you know, that's fantastic point. I'm so glad that you talk about it. If you feel like your talent is not celebrated, if there's a politics or something, and perception is the key. And that's why going back to who are these people who are getting promoted, because there's an internal culture, you cannot fight it. The perception, once it's done, right? This is why you got to understand what your boss is thinking, what your boss is saying to his boss or their boss about you matters. That's why skip level networking to build the connection is really important to the bosses to bosses as well, executive. You have to have that presence when people talk about you in the room in a board meeting. When your boss is going to put your name in a room full of opportunity, they should have no objections. And this is how you get promotion in the world that I came from. What are your thoughts, Maya, before we wrap up and keep have people open for Q&A? Guys, we're gonna open the floor for Q&A. There's a raise button in here. Maya, do you have any three things that you feel like it's absolutely must to get promoted based on your lived experience?
Yeah, there are actually 5, and that's going to include what you just said about advocate. So I teach a methodology called Startup. So you're going to need 5 things in order to get promoted. Number 1, a strategy. You need to be very clear about what you're trying to achieve and where you want to go. You're going to need advocates. You need to learn how to advocate for yourself, but also have other people go to bat for you. And to your point, the higher up, the better. You're also going to need to build your reputation. And how people perceive you is something that you can actually manage. If you do nothing, they're going to make their own decisions, but you have the power to shape their perception if you do it the right way. You also are going to need to have achievements. If you're not good at your job right now, it is unlikely that you will get promoted. So you need achievements within your current role, and you need to demonstrate next level skills. And lastly, and this is the part most people skip, you need to present a business case, because a promotion is not about you. It's about what the company is going to get out of it. And if you can demonstrate not only your past success, but how you're going to impact them in the future, that's going to turn any promotion from a maybe to a hell yes.
That is crazy. We are speaking the same language. Loving it, guys. Audio audience, give us heart emojis. Isn't that fantastic that Maya's actually shared her own strategy that she actually shares with the client as well for free. Now, anyone has any questions, please come up on the stage. We'd love for you to come up on the stage and ask Maya or ask any questions about the career. There's a hand raise button right there. Come in, and I'm going to close the floor if there's no questions. So Bidushi, you're up. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi Maya, I'm Vidushi Goyal from India.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Maya?
Very excited to be here. How can I help?
So how can I have a job after my MBA is done, but I'm not able to have a job actually because of my marks and my speech.
What kind of role are you looking to get into?
So
I'm sorry.
Bidushi, you're cutting off, so I'm not sure. Can you say that again?
no, as an analyst in finance.
Did you get that,
In
Maya?
finance. Okay. Yeah. So let me give you a more general approach. So how do you even get your first job? I think it's a little bit challenging these days because a lot of you have probably seen that a lot of entry-level jobs require a lot of experience, which, by the way, is ridiculous because if you're new to the workforce, you can't have experience. So a couple of different things that can play in your favor. One is any volunteer work that you've done during your studies, whether it's your bachelor's or your MBA. I've actually worked with people who could demonstrate how, program managing something for their university was actually considered as experience. You can actually volunteer. I know people think volunteer work doesn't count, but if you get results, if you do something and you can see the results, that counts. And I'll give you a really quick example. Someone who wants to get into marketing, for example, if you can find a local business, maybe an NGO, and help them build their website, and then help them figure out how to drive traffic, even if you do it for free, if you get results and you put that on your resume, that's going to open doors for you.
That's great. Thank you, Maya. Tarandeep, you're next. What's your question?
Hi, so I wanted to ask a question regarding promotions. So, is there like a specific timeline or year of experience to get a promotion? And if not, how to get one while explaining that you've done all the job and all the tasks for your current position, and now you would like to move up the ladder?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think a lot of companies claim to have a specific requirement. I think the average number to move up from an IC role to a management role is 5.7 years. But I was able to do it in a year. I know a lot of people who have done it. I think putting a number is just going to limit you. I think it's more about when is it that you feel ready, meaning you've done the work, you feel confident in your abilities, and you feel that itch, that desire to do a little bit more. So I think when you start feeling it, that's when you want to have a conversation with your manager And not a conversation about, hey, I want to get promoted, but more a conversation around, I want to continue growing my career with this company. Can we put together a plan for how I might get promoted in the next 3, 6, 8 months, whatever is going to make sense to you? And then take small steps every single week and every single month to actually build your confidence, but also build your business case. And that means choosing the right projects, talking to the right people, collecting all of your wins. So when the time comes to kind of make that application, you have everything ready, you have your manager on your side, and you can make it a slam dunk.
That is great tip there, and I want to add what worked as a manager who wanted to promote my staff was don't make me work. My job is to support you, but give me the things you research. Let's say you want to upskill it. Tell me why you want to upskill it. Is it related with where you want to go? Don't do it for the sake of doing it because company has a budget. It has to make sense because I'm answerable to my boss in HR department as well, who's doing the learning and development as well, right? Prove that your KPIs, that you're meeting it and exceeding it so I can make a case for you. Give me the reason to promote you. When I'm putting your name in there, then it makes sense. So and then do the research. And that's what I did as well. So if I want to get promoted into a certain role, then I went to my manager. I said, you know what, these are the courses you're not offering in-house in learning and development. Here's the course, and this is what the budget is. And here's what I can do. I'm missing, there's a skill gap when you're getting promoted that you want to fit in. So that way, when you go on interview, you don't feel like they come back to you and say, you don't meet it because you are missing this skill gap, right? Be ready and understand the role that you want to be in there. And if it's a skill gap, talk to your manager, upgrade yourself, shadowing and training and everything. Be ready. Give no reason for them to come back and reject you. So, and you're set beautifully, Maya. If you put the years on it, you got to be promoted by this year. That might not work because every department, every culture is different. Every role is different. So it depends on the type of responsibility and role as well. So focus on your skill set, what you need. Focus on the career ladder path. Be very clear with your manager during one-to-one coaching and during performance review. And we're going to talk about performance review briefly because probably it's happening as well before I bring up other people on the stage. Maya, why do you think performance review is really important to talk about career promotion?
Oh my gosh, performance reviews get such a bad rap, but it's actually one of the best career accelerators out there, and most people are terrified of them. And I think the reason is because they don't understand the value and how they can use them to their advantage. So most people assume, a performance review is how my manager is going to get me, right? They're just going to try and understand what I'm not doing. They're going to tell me I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. However, if you think about it the other way around, a performance review is an opportunity for you to demonstrate everything that you've done. It's an opportunity to advocate for yourself, right? So I really think it's important to change your mindset first, understand that it's actually a great platform, and then don't wait for the last minute. Don't scramble 2 days before to try and prove yourself, but actually spend the time the entire year collecting all of your wins, documenting all of your success, and building a case for yourself. So when it comes time to actually go through the performance review, you're going to be confident, you're going to have all the information you need, and you're going to use it to actually level up.
Okay, so there's a question on I think it's coming from your LinkedIn Live. I'm looking at it right now. Sydney Shah has question. Can any listener here summarize how Maya was able to create a job function in her firm? I missed listening to that part. Do you want to take that question?
Yeah, sure. Super quickly. I was working for a small PR agency. There were 5 account executives and then the CEO. I noticed a problem. I offered to solve it. And that initiative is what actually motivated my manager to give me a leadership role. He saw the initiative, he liked my direction, and the fact that I was willing to go the extra mile. I will say every single person at that company could have done the same thing. I didn't have any special skills. I did not have more experience. I was just willing to stand up and make a suggestion and then follow through. And that's how I created my leadership opportunity.
Okay, great. There's a question for audio live audience. If you want to come up on the stage, I'm going to close this up soon. And now is your time. I'm going to close the Q&A sections in 2 minutes. Please be there, raise your hand and be on a queue so I can bring you along in interest of time. There's a question on your LinkedIn Live by Vivian Chan. What's the best way to approach office politics when your manager feels your skill level and passion is a threat to their own role? That is, I've seen colleagues outperform their manager, and then their manager makes them redundant to save their own job. Yet in reality, the junior never wanted the manager role, just wanted to contribute and convey their passion.
Okay, that's a really good question, Vivian. I will say I have two different types of approach for this. The reason someone would feel insecure and threatened is because they don't really understand their role as a manager. As a manager, you are only as good as your team. So the more successful your team members are, the more you are perceived as being a great leader. However, not everyone understands that. So they're really intimidated and scared. There are two ways to approach it. The first one is to try and change their perception. So I had a manager who couldn't trust me. And because they couldn't trust me, they were always suspicious and trying to understand what I'm doing. So by over communicating and walking them through my thought process for every single project, it actually alleviated a lot of that fear. It slowly made them trust me. And a couple of months later, we were able to have a much better conversation, and a lot of different things opened up for me. However, not everyone is going to go for that. Some people are just not ready to be managers. And if that is the case, and you're really sure that your manager is going to stand in your way to get promoted, you need to either move internally and go to a different team or leave. Because if your manager is not on board for a promotion, it is unlikely you will get it.
That is great. I want to add one more thing on that one is if you have a managers like that, it's very important to have a skip level meeting with the boss's boss, not to vent about it, being strategic about it, and letting them know what you're working on it, because you cannot sit there and assume that your boss is actually talking about your work. This is why the skip level meeting is so important, to showcase your work and brag about it, because there's an evidence. So a lot of people, including the stakeholders, knows about what's going on in your life. Because if you don't speak up, if you have a bosses like that, they're going to downgrade you. And this is what exactly that happens. Now, leadership is really hard, guys. I'm pretty sure Maya can agree to it as well. It's very hard to manage people. And I've realized after leading team for more than 10 years, and when I quit the corporate world, and now I own the business, and you know what? I've changed my mindset. I wish I was like that when I was leading the team. I want to hire the people where I can learn with them, like not teach them, but learn. And I want to hire a mentor. I want to hire overqualified people. They make me look good, get things done. And now I'm doing in my business, if I want someone, I'd be hiring freelancer who's like, expert at it. So I'm not spending so much time on it. That's me, because of like leadership hat that I was wearing on. And that insecurity Maya talks about, that's so real as a leader. Sometimes when someone knows more than you kind of feel insecure. Why? Right? And I think that if you're a leader right now leading the team, I want you to think about, if someone knows you more than you in the team, honestly, that's a strength. That's not your weakness. Hone it and approach it in the wise way. These are the key part. You got to be surrounded with people like that, where they're going to be your next leader. Because if you go in vacation, that's the person you're going to be depending on. That's exactly what I did. And I created the future leader. Leadership is about creating the future leader, not creating the follower. Anything to add, Maya?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think good leaders are force multipliers. They understand that if they hire people who are at their level or below, they're actually limiting the potential of their team. Essentially, they're limiting the potential to one brain, theirs. But when you hire exceptional people who are very good at their own disciplines, you're increasing the potential, because now you have 10 brains, not one. So this is how good managers think. They think about the ROI, the return on investment. How are they going to make a bigger impact by increasing the potential of the entire team?
That is great. Now, before I close this out, I have one more. James as well. I'll bring you up on stage. Paramjot, what question do you have? Go ahead.
Thank you for having me. Actually, my question is not about the get promoted fast. Uh, Actually, I'm running for my first role. I have applied for many jobs in the same field as a retail sales consultant and have more than 10 job search website bookmarked. I have 8 years of experience in the mobile industry. So I have 7 or 8 Canadian mobile industry company names and have also applied with them. I also have some employer website that specially for offer LMI foreigners, and I have set up schedule for this process even though I created my resume using a resume builder that had adhered to Canadian standard. And I also made network on a LinkedIn with hiring manager and talent acquisition. Still, despite of everything, I have yet to receive a response.
Paramjit, I think I'm
And
sorry, I have to bring you down to the listening. I think you send me the message. How about I reply you back? I think your question was related with the Canada. So in the interest of time, I'm going to bring you down and I'm going to send you separate message on DM, okay? Because I got your message. I will follow up with you, okay?
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to close this. James, you're next.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm James. I'm a sales personnel for a microfinance here in Malawi. I have this is my fifth year working in the industry. I've worked. This is my third company. Um, so it's always on contract basis. Sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months. Uh, the bosses are always happy that I deliver. And right now, I've been in this company like for 4 months. I mean, for 6 months, and I'm right now. I'm the best sales like in the whole company nationwide. But they're just talking about, "Are we going to promote you? You know, you're doing great." But I've experienced this like before the companies that I worked for in the first place. But they promised me a lot. I worked for 2 years on contracts, but they never gave me any promotion, be it in the money that I was getting and even the positions. It was always temporary. So I'm feeling like I'm not growing. I don't know where I need to work on so that I can actually in the promotion. I really need to get promoted.
Maya?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I would say a couple of different things. First and foremost, I do think it's very important to make it known that you're interested in getting promoted. We think everyone assumes we want to get promoted, but that's actually not the case. You also want to have the conversation way before you're ready. So, not the minute you want to get promoted, but probably 3 to 6 months before you actually get there. And then you're going to have a conversation with your manager to try and set the parameters. What would I need to do? What are the achievements, the KPIs? What will I need to demonstrate so that 6 months from now, you'll be able to offer me a promotion? And here's why, because when you agree on what success looks like, it's going to be a lot harder to push back when the time comes. And if you can have that in writing, meaning email conversation, that's even better, because that way, even if your manager leaves or there's a reorg, you have all the information in one place. I would also say it's important to have this conversation early, because sometimes you're going to hear back that, yeah, we're not going to be promoting this year, or we don't have the head count, or even your manager being honest with you and saying, I don't think it's going to happen for you with this company. And even though it's not what you want to hear, knowing it in advance so that you don't waste another 6 months or another year with a company is important. And that's when you want to start looking for your next opportunity. So make it known, agree on what it's going to take to get there, achieve everything that you aligned on, and then circle back and negotiate your promotion.
That's great. Thank you. Bidusi, you're the last one to close this up. What question do you have?
Hi, Shweta. Hi, Maya. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak here. So, my question is not related to promotion but salary hike. So, I switched my field from R&D to business analytics and business side in the healthcare domain. So I got this opportunity in a startup where I was told it is in stealth mode and we cannot provide like a high salary, and I had to take a salary cut. But after joining, I realized like there are a few other people who are getting like better salary than me, but they don't even have a master's. So I had a meeting with CEO. Like I told him that my main concern is when I'll be financially independent, and he said he'll have a one-on-one with that for that. So how do I equip myself, to face that one-on-one, and how can I, convince him to give me a better salary?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Let's start with what not to do. So, a company is a business. They're supposed to be profitable, to make money, and they have a legal obligation to their shareholders. And that means no matter how much they like you, they're not likely to give you more money just to make you happy. So you need to give them a good reason. And the best reason you can give them is I am delivering more value than what I was hired to do, which means I am worth more to the company. So how I would prepare for this kind of meeting is to create a business case to demonstrate everything that you've done since you've been hired. I would make sure that it's very clear that it's more than you were expected to do. So you're exceeding expectations. And I know with the startup world, you usually wear a lot of hats. You do a lot of different things. So it should be easy to demonstrate that you're doing more than what you were supposed to do. And then ask for that additional compensation and be specific about what you're looking for. Give them a specific number, and make sure that you have a couple of benchmarks demonstrating what other people who do similar kind of work are expected to earn. What you can't do is just go in saying, hey, other people are getting paid more. Well, maybe other people did a much better job negotiating initially. That doesn't mean you should not get paid your worth. It just means that you need to negotiate better this time around. But just because someone else is getting it, unfortunately, is usually not a good enough reason for a company to give you more.
That is an amazing point. That's what I wanted to add in as well. So for those of you joining us, thank you so much for joining us today. Here's a favor. If you want to watch the replay, I have it on YouTube channel, which is Teach and Do. You can go ahead and watch the replay, subscribe to the channel. I bring amazing guests as Maya every week. I have next week, and guess what we're going to talk about? I have with Recruiter, our 80 to 90% jobs hidden. Let's talk about that. And next week, we're going to do that 11 a.m. If you want to know more about it, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come and join us in audio live as well. Do me a favor, after you walk out, don't hold that knowledge. Leadership is not about holding the knowledge, sharing and caring. Tag both of us, take a screenshot of this, whatever works for you, and then put it on the YouTube channel as well, or whatever. Just tell the people, look, guys, I walked away with 3 things today. This is how you got promoted. I had no idea about. If you had a key takeaway from this session, please do not keep it with yourself. Tag me and Maya, and then we'll hop in. And if you're looking for a role, anything like that, you get exposed to our network and Maya's network as well. You never know who's watching. These are the things you should be doing whenever you're going to the audio live, if you're targeting the right role. So that way, when recruiters and managers are looking at your profile, it seems like you're a thought leader. It seems like you're actually ahead of the career game as well. Maya, before I leave, where can people connect with you? Is there any program that you have ongoing right now that people can work with you?
Yeah, of course. Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can go to mayagrossman.com. And to anyone who want to get promoted, I do have an online course. It's only 90 minutes, and it's going to teach you everything you need to get promoted.
That is perfect. Thank you so much for coming in, Maya. It was amazing, and I can't wait for us to collaborate ever and ever, all the time. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. And I'd like to give shout out. I think I'm going to butcher the name, but I want to apologize in advance. Jose, Tarana, Vinay, Colleen, Shivani, Somaya, Arpit, Jayad. Thanks for hanging in there. That's my client, man. I'm so proud of you, Jayad. You have no idea. Kelly, Vidushi, Tariq, Paramjot, Swastik, Desire, Uche, Dr. Dewan, good to see you. Trang, Hella, Yash, Abida, Shazi, Anita, Srijit, John, Ranjit, Rita, Bandana, Emily, Devidas, James, Sagun, Sachin, Wendy, Sudhir, Ize, Anshuman, Newman. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. 1, 2, 3, and we are out. You take care, everybody.